Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Days of Our Lives has had a difficult week as the program has fared well in sending off Doug, but despite the length of time we had to wait, we're simply happy they took the time to do it right. If only they could maintain this sense of history and family in a way that would honor the past while inspiring us to look forward to the future. An iconic goodbye. This week has been really demanding. Like Susan Seaforth Hayes, I simply cannot fathom having to endure all of that twice. I understand that when an actor passes away while still appearing in a show, their friends and co-stars must grieve both on and off screen, but it must have been extremely tough to lose your husband twice. Nevertheless, I adore how well they integrated Doug's life and eulogy with Bill Hayes. It was a wonderful way to pay tribute to them both. Julie stands at a lectern surrounded by bushes and an arrangement of vibrant flowers. Next to her is a large framed picture of Doug. Liz's encouraging murmur as she went up to sing, Julie's expression as she closed her eyes and listened to the music before everyone joined in, Eli holding her in Alice/Doug's chair, and Julie heading up to their bedroom to say goodbye to Doug all devastated me. I say Julie, but I'm aware that her portrayer's suffering at those times was equally real. Although I was not present when Stephen Schnetzer appeared on Days of Our Lives or watched Another World, I adored his scenes, his presence, and his relationship with Julie and, rather shockingly, Leo. And I pretty much agreed with wanting him on full-time right away. The play made reference to Cass Winthrop's membership on the Salem City Council board a few years ago. Furthermore, that name isn't really Mike Smith, let's face it. It must be a reference to Schnetzer's character from Another World because there can't be so many Cass Winthrops in the world. There is still a built-in entrance for Schnetzer's comeback right there, even if they don't want two Steves in town at once. Cass might be brought on to run for mayor. Stephen Days is accused by Sierra and Lucas. The speed at which they went from death to memorial and funeral kind of caught me off guard. Given that we received so many fantastic ones back, I would have been content with more prelude, more flashbacks, and more characters reflecting. However, things happened so quickly that Chad and JJ were unable to even go back in time. That probably came down to money and a cap on the number of attendees at the memorial, which is also why Sarah wasn't present. Additionally, Christian Alfonso was unable to attend the funeral due to a schedule conflict. The show had no influence over that, but if only Hope had been present as well. Still, the scenes in the cemetery were beautiful, especially after Jennifer arrived. And whoa, those flashbacks showed how young everyone was. It hasn't ended yet. I would have preferred more alumni to stay throughout the week, but Hope will be back next week and we'll see whether Doug Williams III stays. All I can say is that this better not be another fake-out because they're playing Doug 3 with a little too much mistrust after Kat. It isn't, in my opinion. It's too clear. On our message boards, however, I came across a suggestion that Doug 3 is actually Spencer Olsen, who is collaborating with Stephen to take the jewelry. Interesting, but why deceive us with one heritage character rather than another? Furthermore, why did he remove the necklace immediately after being released from prison? That is about as arbitrary as the jewelry itself. Yes, I am aware. He owes Clyde money. Behind it all is Clyde. Just kidding. Hopefully. A well-known story. I was a little disappointed with what we got, but I can understand why they changed course on Friday because the farewell material doesn't really make for exciting finales. It's not a cliffhanger in Salem when someone enters during a tense moment when two other characters are discussing a secret, it's just a day that ends in Y. If it didn't happen often, it might be a significant event, but as we all know, Chanel won't take anything away from Johnny and Alex's altercation. The concept of the two sparring a little and Alex's anger over EJ's bribery, which won't work out, intrigued me a little. Although Alex would never be able to compete with someone like EJ in real life, he does have certain Kiriaki's resources that might be useful. In the DiMera mansion, Chanel encounters a sheepish Johnny and Alex. Regarding the Clyde items. Because JJ was avoiding his mother and Chad, no one found out about Doug's passing until after the burial. I've already forgotten the justification. So there was no message left? Have you texted someone? Emergency, Doug passed away. Once more, I assumed that the writers had to make it work within a more constrained budget, but I sigh. Just sigh, that's all. I am delighted that Kat finally told Chad something like, okay, great, I'm horrible, you hate me, your dead wife's remains are more important than my mother's life, even though I know that everyone is upset with her. She was right. Even when everything is horrible, life is still vital, isn't it? The good news is that I believe Clyde's situation is finally reaching a breaking point. There will be a lot of JJ/Gabby Kat Chad next week, which I assume will also involve the corresponding pairings growing closer to becoming a couple. And I'll accept the bonus if it gets closer to Clyde's demise. When the scheme goes awry and Clyde is unintentionally killed before he can reveal the location of Abigail's remains, I could picture that occurring. I can imagine Days of Our Lives doing that to keep the potential of Abigail being alive out there in case they decide to undo it, but on the one hand, that won't let Chad move on, and I really want him to. Which puts us in a state of uncertainty once more, but at least Clyde would be gone. Let's introduce a fresh antagonist to spice up the year. I hate to say it, but he must pass away for the show to stop returning to him whenever something negative occurs in Salem. Let him rest in peace, please. For a few years at least. Wandering thoughts. This week, I don't have many stray thoughts. They have a tendency to be irreverent, and this week didn't offer me many opportunities to be irreverent. It drove me nuts how they handled that time capsule and how Sierra opened it with no more explanation than that was easy. How did she open it, even though I knew it wasn't the main point? Was it a riddle? A catchy trick? What? I take it we're getting Spencer Olsen? We must. It was a little unsettling that the poor man's father would basically instruct a complete stranger to find him and get in touch with him without warning, but it was too obvious to avoid meeting him right away. You're not the only person who doesn't know Hope's mother. She's a Horton and a Williams, but not because Julie. Hope and Julie actually share a mother, Addie Horton. Addie's first husband, Ben, died after she had Steve and Julie. She then dated Doug, even though he was in love with Julie, married him, became pregnant with leukemia, went into a coma, gave birth to Hope, and passed away. Hortons were crazy in the beginning. Dick Van Dyke, a legendary figure in show business, has a lot to think on as he celebrates his 99th birthday on December 13th and considers his amazing life and remarkable career, as he does in Coldplay's new music video For All My Love. The performer, who is only one Academy Award away from winning an EGOT, says, I think I'm one of those lucky people who got to do for a living what I would have done, anyway. You realize how fortunate I am to be able to play and act goofy like this. In his daytime Emmy-winning role as John Black's true father, Timothy Robichaux, Van Dyke, who had been Jim pals with Days of Our Lives star Drake Hodgson in real life, left a lasting effect. The Dick Van Dyke Show and Diagnosis, Murder star acknowledged his advanced age, saying, I'm acutely aware that I, could go any day now, but I don't know why it doesn't concern me. In his daytime Emmy-winning role as John Black's true father, Timothy Robichaux, Van Dyke, who had been Jim pals with Days of Our Lives star Drake Hodgson in real life, left a lasting effect. The Dick Van Dyke Show and Diagnosis, Murder star acknowledged his advanced age, saying, I'm acutely aware that I, could go any day now, but I don't know why it doesn't concern me.